go to sleep. Next morning, I wake up, roll over to check my phone, so excited about, like, to talk to him. He had texted me late last night, and he goes, hey, so I just really wanted to tell you because I just was talking to my mom about coming, and I just, and listen, he was out, but he wasn't out to his parents yet. So he's literally like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm really grateful for everything you helped me with. I actually just came out to my mom last night and told her that I was bi, so thank you so much. And it's like, she was super, super supportive, and I told her that I wanted to come visit you, and I've thought about it a lot, and I talked to her, and I actually think that I'm straight, so I'm not gonna come.
So he's not stupid. He's not an idiot. He knows he's going after straight boys. And he just continues to lead himself on, I guess you could say.
I just started like bawling because I was like, oh my god, like a month of my life like now gone. I FaceTimed you that morning. I was like, this is like what? How? Like how did this even happen to me? And I wrote back and I was like, listen, like I get it with all, like if you're nervous, cool, like whatever, with all due respect for your own good, I don't think that you're straight. Yeah. I really don't. Like you told me you were bi at first. We had an amazing time. You told me you had an amazing time. I know you had an amazing time because we knew what's going on down there.
James then saw this as an opportunity to manipulate me as a person who may or may not have been trying to figure things out about their sexuality after the fact of telling him that I was straight multiple times.
And we've been talking for the last month. You sent me shirtless pictures. You've been flirting with me. So like, if you don't feel the same way that I do right now, you know what? That's okay.
Because I feel like it was invalidating your feelings.
Yes.
It felt like all that was for nothing, and especially for him to do that the day before.
Right. I was like, if you're not interested, that's okay. Don't come back to me with you think you're straight.
Yeah.
Because that's like, hello? Like what?
So, who's telling the truth? That's what we're going to try to find out today, but before we jump into it, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird is a monthly subscription service that gives you the opportunity to sample from over 600 brands in the fragrance, cosmetics, and skincare categories. Scentbird lets you choose a new designer fragrance every month for just $15. They seriously have everything from Prada to Gucci, even indie labels like Glossier, Nest, and Toka. Women and men can try this out. They have scents for everyone, you guys. The fragrance bottles are extremely easy to use. You just twist them up and they're ready to go. They're all rollerball size perfumes, which is much more product than a regular sample size of perfume that you could get from Sephora or Ulta. They're also a perfect travel size. You can stick them in your purse and take them anywhere with you. This month I was able to get Wild Poppy from Nest, In Full Bloom by Kate Spade, and Fantasia by Anna Sui. If you'd like, you can check out all the links in the description below, and I might just have a code for you that you can use to get 30% off. That's $10 for your first month. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So for those of you who don't know, James Charles is a beauty YouTuber who has 16 million subscribers on his channel, so he's kind of a big deal right now. Well, James Charles went out to Coachella a couple weekends ago with a boy that he had met while traveling, and a few of his fans saw them at Coachella and wanted to know if they were dating. So James got bombarded with tweets asking about him and this boy, and to one tweet in particular, James tweeted back, "No, unfortunately, I am still very single. This boy played me for months on end and is a disgusting con artist. I'm thankful I had my friends with me." So upon tweeting that at a fan, the boy that James Charles went to Coachella with, his name is Gage, made a 2-minute video on his YouTube channel, his first ever video talking about the tweet and saying that yes, it was directed at him, but no, he did not lead James Charles on. James Charles deleted his initial tweet at this person and then apologized to Gage for tweeting about it because he didn't mean to send any hate or negativity Gage's way. But then a few days later, a video went up on Nikita Dragon's channel where James and Nikita were sitting down doing a mukbang and they were talking about their ex-boyfriends, and Gage is brought up. James says over and over again throughout this video that Gage made him aware that he was bi. James talked about their Coachella experience and a few other things that they had done together that made it seem like Gage was really genuinely interested in James. But the video on Nikita Dragon's channel did not make Gage look good. It didn't make him look bad, but it didn't make him look good. And Gage took it upon himself to respond to that video by making a video called "What Really Went Down Between Me and James Charles." So what I want to do is break down Gage's body language and James's body language by comparing Nikita's video and Gage's video, and come to a conclusion myself about who I may think is lying and who I may think is telling the truth. So let's hear both sides of the story and break it down.
Let's start from the beginning. January 2019, I receive a DM from this person. I'm sure you guys all know who I'm talking about. I proceeded to respond as a friend, like anyone would do. Especially to someone who has so much influence in like this world today, you could say. In social media, yeah. From there, I'm gonna kind of skip over a lot and go right to this point. James then saw this as an opportunity to manipulate me as a person who may or may not have been trying to figure things out about their sexuality after the fact of telling him that I was straight multiple times. He then started to begin putting a little bit of pressure on me, of getting to know me without like disregarding the fact that I told him I was straight. Because as you all know, this person 99.9, maybe even 100% of the time goes after heterosexual men.
I want to focus on the first initial claim about James that Gage makes. Keep in mind that Gage is obviously not a huge online personality, so his body language is a little more sloppy than most. I can tell that his head is all over the place whenever he's talking about James. When he starts saying, James then saw this as an opportunity to manipulate me, he stutters, rubs his head, and you can see his eyelids flutter for a split second. He gets a smile on his face, blinks on the word manipulate, and when he says may or may not have been trying to figure things out about their sexuality, his eyes flash to memory for a moment, he slow blinks on figure things out, juts back about their sexuality, another slow blink on of telling him, his eyes flash over to the constructive side of his brain, and then he ends the sentence that I was straight multiple times. Now to me, without jumping to conclusions too quickly, reads as though he was trying to figure out his sexuality. Talking about it stresses him out, but there's also a tad bit of deception when he says that he told James he was straight. He has a very smug aura too. The smiling at the beginning is a big indication of immaturity. His body is stiff at some points, but not all. I kind of feel as though there might be some information right off the bat that he's omitting.
I told James I wasn't interested in any of that. We then stopped talking for a while. He had to shoot a video in New York City for a bit. But I was in school. He came here, he wanted to hang out. I told him I was busy. His flight got delayed, so then he saw this as a perfect opportunity to hang out, even though I told him I was busy. He then proceeded to get mad at me for not clearing my schedule to meet up, hang out, get food, chill, whatever, talk.
There's a pause and a quick look to the constructive side of his brain before he says, I told James I wasn't interested in any of that. When he says he saw this as a perfect opportunity to hang out, he touches his hat multiple times, his hair, his arms just kind of flailing around. This could be because he's vain, or it could be because he's subconsciously trying to distract himself from what he's saying. There's another pause and another glance over to the right, so I'm willing to bet that James wasn't actually angry about this.
He was aware how I felt about him. If I was ever a little vague, I was never telling him what he wanted to hear, or I was never lying to him. It was always how I felt at the time, and he knew that.
So the biggest way that you can tell signs of stress and signs of deception is if you look at the blink rate of someone. Usually people don't blink too frequently, so whenever your blink rate speeds up, it's a sign of, ooh, I'm stressed out right now. And his blink rate speeds up whenever he says he was aware of how I felt about him, and he blinks on the words never and him in a 3-word sentence. I've never lied to him. He blinks on 2 of the words out of the 3. That's not normal. And he plays with his ear at one point. It's a very common tactic to self-soothe, especially when you're lying. I don't want to sit here and trash Gage. That's never my intention. But whenever people so blatantly show signs of deception, it really pisses me off.
So he was aware how I felt about him and basically still pursued this action. In between a week or 2, I was blocked and unblocked multiple times because maybe I wouldn't respond to his Snapchat right away, or maybe I wouldn't respond to his DM right away, or I wouldn't pick up a FaceTime call. So he then unblocked me and continued to speculate that he didn't know or that he forgot that I told him I was straight in the beginning.
I don't even think that this guy buys what he's saying. He again scans the constructive side of his brain and even shakes his head no a little bit whenever he says that James continued to pursue him. And I don't, for the life of me, understand how Gage could be so confused as to why James was speculating whether or not he was gay. You know, it's not as if, like, he was kissing on him at Coachella or anything.
So then invited me to Coachella, and I denied the first time he asked me. I denied both times he asked me. He asked me like one day, and the next day after he asked me again. I said no. After I said no, he got mad again and blocked me on everything. Once again. So we didn't talk for probably 2 weeks. I then got in contact with him again after a few weeks and told him I did want to go to Coachella.
Now, this isn't necessarily about his body language, but can we all see the error of Gage's ways? Like, he said weeks prior to Coachella that James had continuously denied that he was straight, had refused to see and accept his boundaries, and had emotionally manipulated him. So James and Gage became friends under the pretense that maybe something would happen romantically, and we all know that they had some form of physical relationship together. So in that case, why else would Gage agree to go to Coachella with James other than the fact that he was using him or he had a crush on him? I don't think that James would have dropped bans on some guy that was constantly rejecting him. And I don't think that he'd do it for just a friend. I know I wouldn't. Come on. Think logically, people.
So I ended up going to Coachella, right? Because I thought it was going to be a good time. And it was. It was an awesome weekend. Hung out with all of them. It was a blast. There was some points where I guess he was not sure how I was feeling, even though I was telling him the whole time I wasn't into, I guess you could say, experimenting at that time. He proceeded to get extremely upset with me because of that and kind of tried to play his emotions and push his emotions onto me to kind of guilt me into trying something.
You can tell he's really uncomfortable when it comes to talking about their relationship. I kind of think he's a little bit ashamed. I don't think that James got angry at him specifically because he wasn't open to experimenting. Gage shakes his head no on to guilt me into trying something, and that's again just one of the many ways that he's shown me that he most likely isn't telling the whole truth.
So at the end of Coachella, all of his friends, I guess, came to a conclusion that I was using him. This person is aware of how much money they make off of these scandals. This is not me trying to come at them. It's more or less kind of just letting you guys know all of the drama that even has occurred after this. Thanks to you guys, I was pressured into making this second video. It was a good time. That's the tea. See you later.
And with that, Sir Smugness signs off. Alright, now I want to look at Nikita's video. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to take certain points that Gage made and kind of counteract them with what James said in the video, and we can talk about it a little bit.
Long story short, we watched the movie together, we cuddled, it was everything. At the end of the movie, he was asking about me and like hooking up with guys and stuff because it was his first time ever doing anything with a guy. He told me he had just recently come out.
Okay.
We made out. Literally one of the most magical hours of my entire life. Like, loved
an
it.
hour of making out.
He was so kind, so sweet. He kept being like, I'm really nervous. Like, I don't want to do anything further. Fine.
Totally good.
Totally good. No worries. We don't have to do anything.
After going through the video again, there honestly weren't many times that they both kind of addressed the same thing. Gage definitely left out a lot more in his video, and James gave so much more detail. So Gage said that James had gotten angry at the fact that he didn't want to experiment. However, James's body sings with him when he says that it wasn't a problem. James is really in emotion as he speaks about Gage, and it's clear that he got his feelings hurt.
And even after that, he came back a few days later. It was like, I really want a second chance.
They always come back.
And
always come
we
back.
talked about it. We started talking again. We talked for like 2 more weeks, and he pulled the same thing again. And then a few weeks later, he literally was like, I just want your forgiveness. Like, please talk to me. And I haven't blocked him. And it sucks because like I really, truly felt a connection with him.
Yeah, you guys really had a connection.
He is insanely good looking and really, really kind. I will still say.
And
that.
also the whole story of how it kind of went down down, it really like makes you really invested.
And this is all being pulled from his memory accurately for the most part. There is definitely some portrayal there because James is with his best friend and, you know, they're acting kind of goofy, kind of silly, but still talking about this thing that happened. I can understand why this wouldn't be the most fun story to tell. James is definitely one to talk with his hands, but he doesn't have that much movement space, so I can understand why he may seem a little stiff, but this reads to me as truthful. I wanted to look more into this video, but right now this is all I've got. I know. But here is where I'm gonna end the video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Definitely make sure to check out the description again if you guys are interested in Scentbird, and I will catch you guys on the next video.